Now, coming to Woodward Sports. Woodward and Main Street. The Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Good morning, Woodward Sports, and happy game day. We're so excited to have you here with us to kick off your Sunday Lions game day. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me, Matt Broder and Terry Foster. This is your Lions Insider Show, Woodward and Main Street. How are we feeling this morning?
Are the Lions playing today?
Yes, they are.
The last game was like a month ago.
It does. We've been talking about this for weeks.
We've been waiting.
This 10 days seems like it's literally been multiple weeks. It's been a month.
Forever.
Forever.
And even the people were like, are you guys having a show on Thursday? I'm like, no. We're Tuesdays and game days, but I know you've been missing us. I know you've been waiting for the inside scoop. You have to hear all that's going on with the beat team from Woodward Sports.
That's us.
And getting all your inside coverage. So we're going to get this started this morning, get right into it because there's lots to cover for today's game. First, we're going to kick it off because we are through the first quarter, as Terry would like to call it, of the NFL season. And we're each going to pick our offensive and defensive MVPs of the first quarter for the Lions NFL season. So, to kick it off, Terry Foster, who is your gold star player of the first quarter for the Lions?
Gold star?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was supposed to do a
MVP.
Okay.
Defense.
Well, you guys already know this, Brian Branch. He's a missile. He's a missile out there. He creates havoc. He creates havoc as far as he attacks the quarterback. He attacks wide receivers. Picks off balls. He does everything. He's a jack of all trades. They just put a little utility belt on him when he goes out there to play.
He's a stud.
Like that. I like that. Now, Matt Broder, I'm gonna swing it to you next.
There's some surprise coming next to yours.
Some surprise
Yes.
for mine, but I'll swing it to you next. Who gets an A+ on your report card for the first quarter?
I'm going to go with a little unsung hero. We haven't talked about a ton, although there have been some themes throughout the weeks. It's Cam Sutton. It's cornerback Cam Sutton from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Came over, signed a 3-year contract, and has been nothing but steady for the Lions so far this season. He's been able to guard the opposing team's number one wide receiver. He's been great in the run defense, coming up from the cornerback position. He's just been that reliable force. That's kind of been the theme of this Lions team, having someone steady and reliable like that. So Cam Sutton, he's my first quarter MVP.
That is your first quarter
Let me see
MVP.
how good your memory is.
Yes.
Instead of wearing a Lions jersey, what should he be wearing out there on the field every day?
Braves jersey, a Braves uniform. He's a Atlanta Braves fan.
No, he should be wearing a smoking jacket.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's my memory.
You really were like, where is Terry going to take this? I got to figure out something.
I was like, what's unique? You have. I was totally zoned in. I was like, what is Terry think? Something about Cam Sutton's unique this weekend. It's like the Braves are playing.
The Braves are playing, but Cam Sutton will be wearing a smoking jacket.
Yes.
We're looking for Honolulu Blue. We're going to see if he comes off of the team bus with that. I like it. All right. There's a little surprise that I'm going to go with because I'm going to I'm going to break the rules, of course. Nothing that I haven't done before on the show because I can't just pick one defensive player because the Lions defense is this secret sauce made up of many, many, many important ingredients. You get a little bit of McNeil, a little bit of Harris,
Sprinkle.
a sprinkle of Kaminsky, a sprig of trust, a cup of violence, and then fill the rest of the pot up with Aiden Hutchinson. And that is your Lions secret sauce. And it is chef's kiss. And I think even Gordon Ramsay would approve of this Lions defensive secret sauce.
What do you think about that, Terry?
I tell you who does not approve of it. Me!
Oh.
Pick a person.
I'm indecisive.
Be a woman. And say, hey, this is my MVP.
All right, then my MVP is Aiden Hutchinson for all the reasons that we talked about of him being the turn of the Lions organization. So I'm gonna go with Aiden Hutchinson, who maybe had a slower start than people were expecting, but has really turned it around. But I really think it's all in the secret sauce.
Yes. Yes. And we do, before we move on, we got to hear Terry's defensive MVP again. I
Okay.
think the mics were a little either low or off, so it's still a secret. I picked Cam Sutton. You're going with Aiden Hutchinson / the entire
The secret
defense.
sauce.
Terry, your defensive MVP, as if they didn't hear you.
'Cause he attacks all over the field. He's a barracuda out there. He attacks the quarterback. He attacks running backs, knocks off their helmet, picks off balls in the secondary. The dude is all over the field. I don't know where he is from play to play, but when the ball is up in the air, there's Brian Branch like, hey, I'm about to create havoc on somebody.
And he was wearing a tool belt, you were saying?
He should be wearing a tool belt, probably with a couple knives in it, daggers, those little star things you throw at people. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah. And when I said Cam Sutton and he should be wearing a Braves uniform, you had said he actually should be wearing, what was it?
Smoking jacket.
A smoking jacket,
The
that's right.
Honolulu blue
that
smoking
wily
jacket.
professor that's with the unruly beard and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
But this is what I have to say to the chat. Even though you probably couldn't hear Terry's choice, you should have known that he was going with Brian Branch. That is his guy on defense.
Who's also my offensive MVP too is Brian Branch.
He's
Oh, well,
lots
there
of
you have it.
touchdowns.
We're jumping
it's
right to it. But who is your offensive choice for
Oh, you want it
MVP
for
of the
real?
first quarter? Yeah.
The battering ram, David Montgomery.
David.
I just think that he is the epitome of what this Lions offense is about. It's not about flash and dash and all these pretty plays and everything. At the foot of this whole thing is running the football, controlling the clock, and also he does something that no Lions team has done before. You get the ball up 4 with 5 minutes left. You run that clock down to like 20 seconds, and then you go home.
Yeah. What an asset.
That's a great asset.
Especially with Jahmyr Gibbs out today. Likely out, doubtful. Having someone like David Montgomery, these types of games are perfect for him.
Essential, which is why I'm also going to choose him for my offensive
Are you
MVP.
sure you don't want to go with 5 or 6 people?
No, I'm going to stick with one this time. I'm going to stick with one, and I'm going with David Montgomery because I really don't know what this Lions offense would look like without him. He's clearly the glue that holds this offense together for all those reasons that you said. I mean, 3 touchdowns last game, his first 3-touchdown game with the Lions. Yeah. It's really something to say when you're in a place where it just clicks. And it just clicks for him. And he's the first player in franchise history to rush for 3 touchdowns at Green Bay. Really setting the record straight for the Lions in Green Bay, setting the record straight for the Lions offense and holding them all together. 69 carries, 262 rushing yards, and 5 touchdowns for this season. So David Montgomery, you are my offensive MVP of the quarter.
Yes. Hey. And for those who are just joining the show, we're talking offensive MVPs for the first quarter of the Detroit Lions season. We just got to defensive MVPs. But for my offensive MVP, I'm going to go with the one guy that I think everything would change if he missed the game. And David Montgomery's a great choice, but he did miss a game. We got other weapons to come in and step in for him. But Jared Goff, if he were to miss an entire game, the offense would look different. I do love Teddy Bridgewater, but Jared Goff is playing at a top 5 MVP level. To me, Terry, he's that glue to the offense. It's not a lot of flash. It's not a lot of extra pizzazz, but he's getting the ball to his weapons at the right time. He's using Amon-Ra St. Brown. And again, a lot of it does help. It gets helped by David Montgomery. He's able to pound the rock with him and then use the play action pass. But I'm going to stick with Jared Goff. He's done everything I could ask for in these first 4 games of the season.
Won't fight you on that. But
all right, let's go.
Say this: that if it wasn't for Montgomery and the offensive line, they would ask Jared Goff to do more. He would probably fail. That's probably true.
But I had, at my second and third options were some guys on the offensive line. So. Hey, they're all working together. This is a team.
Okay,
this is a different team.
You didn't want to use all of them? You didn't want to use all of them? Make me
Jared
feel
Goff
a little
is
bit
it.
better.
Hey, we should have a new rule on the show. Don't become a Gabby.
Deal.
Thanks. Great. So that's how I've started the show off. But the Carolina Panthers are one of 2 teams this NFL season that have gone winless. Now they come into Ford Field and they're looking to crack 18 points, which they've only been able to do in one of their first 4 games. Will they be able to do that at Ford Field today? The hope is no. The hope is that the Lions will hold them back under 20 points. But we'll be right back, and we're going to get a little bit more into what you should expect from the Panthers and the Lions today at Ford Field. Stick with us.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Welcome back to Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me, Terry Foster, Matt Broder. We're thankful for Spencer Raxter, who woke up bright and early to make sure that this show could happen today. We have lots to get into as Carolina comes in to Detroit today to take on the Lions. And the announcement hit this week that the Lions-Bucks game, Week 6, has been flexed to 4 p.m. But what I want to get into, this segment has to deal with that because the Lions can't let their guard down now, focusing on the team that may be more difficult to play next week. Let their guard down and have a situation that maybe feels similar to the Seahawks game, coming off of a Thursday night primetime win, going up against a team at home that people may expect you to win, have a higher chance of you winning. Feels a little similar.
It does. But if I were the coach of the Lions or something and I would address the team, I would tell them every week, y'all ain't won anything. You never won a playoff game. You've never made the playoffs. So you can't overlook anybody. So you still have to put your foot on their throats. You know how teams like to put their foot on somebody's throat when you get them down by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
Don't let up. Coaches, Dan Campbell and all his position coaches can't let up on this team. Say, y'all look good. You're one of the top teams in the NFL, but you haven't done anything. You got to prove it every week.
They need that Seahawks game to look like the bad game, like you were talking about, like the outlier. That was just kind of a blip that happened, and they're going to prove it that was just a blip with this game.
Or here's the thing that we don't like to say. Maybe Seattle's good. Mm-hmm. Maybe they are a legit threat.
That's true.
To go get to the Super Bowl.
I happen to think they are. I still think we laid a little bit of an egg in that game, but Seattle Seahawks, I believe, are good. It does have a eerily similar feeling from the excitement standpoint going in. There's no ski mask. The ski mask hype from week 2, that's gone
Fizzled.
now. But yeah, it's the expectation that the Panthers are 0-4, the Lions are 3-1 and rolling. They should just come in and dominate the Panthers, but it feels different down in Allen Park the last couple weeks. There's no added extra excitement, extra ups and downs, and they don't feel too ahead of themselves. Whether it's been Dane Campbell, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, or some of the players who have talked to us, it's a business trip, or I guess they're home. It's business as usual for them. They have jobs to do regardless of who's playing. There's a couple key players out, but it's the next man up. There's guys still wanting to earn playing time on this team, earn a future reps. There's a lot to prove still into this game, and like you said, we got Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to Tampa Bay next week. The game was flexed to 4:25. They cannot look past the Carolina Panthers. They got to actually have that bad taste in their mouth from last season where the Panthers ran all over them, come back and show them that wasn't the true Lions.
Now, do you feel down at Allen Park that people were mainly speaking of this week's game, or was there a little bit of like a run ahead to the Bucs game?
It was only this week's game. Amon-Ra St. Brown gave an interview in the locker room talking about Panthers aren't one to look past. They've got good things, although they haven't put it all together. They got a rookie quarterback. They've got various pieces that they're still trying to figure out. They got good pieces on defense, a good rush defense, or a pass rush defense, I should say, some good cornerbacks. So it's not going to be a game that they're expecting to walk all over them. They're taking it seriously.
With that said, I don't think a rookie or second-year quarterback can come into this new Ford Field that we're seeing and function without getting a migraine, without saying, where the hell am I? without losing his composure for a few moments. So that's going to be a key because Ford Field is different than it's been for many, many years.
Yeah, they want to make Bryce Young look more like Desmond Ridder than Geno Smith or Patrick Mahomes.
Right. But Geno Smith is 40, 50 years old. He's seen this.
He's not that old.
So he's like, okay, whatever. You guys can yell all you want. I'm just going to play ball.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
He's
a vet.
Like, oh, my God, where am I? These people are crazy.
Yeah.
If the Lions were to lose this one,
Come on, Gabby.
We have to give both sides here.
I know.
Would you call it a pattern, Terry, of this kind of come down after a Thursday night game?
Yes, you have to call it a pattern because they've had a couple of advantages. One, this is a bad team. Carolina are not good, my friends.
Yeah.
And it would be a 10-day layoff and you lose 2 10-day games. Those are the games you're supposed to win because you're a little bit more rested. You can get people a little bit more healthy, even though the Lions didn't do that. So, yeah, I would say it's a pattern. You lost to a good team. Seattle's probably good. And now you lost to a bad team after 10 days off. Unacceptable.
Now, if the Lions were to lose this game, would they put an asterisk next to the Panthers win? Because the Lions have several players today that are out or doubtful even after their 10 days off.
Yeah, no, you can't. There's no asterisks to be put on any of these games. This is the value of all we've talked about in Brad Holmes this offseason, the front office, not just getting these new pieces, but building out this roster from a depth standpoint. There are players that can come in, whether it's Tracy Walker and Ife Melifonwu when the safeties are out, or if it's Jack Campbell and Malcolm Rodriguez needing more reps if something were to happen to Alex Anzalone or Derek Barnes. They've got the guys that are the next man up. Isaiah Buggs, one of Terry's favorite players, missed the first 2 games for whatever reason. Benito Jones played all right, and Buggs came right back in and stepped in and played very well helping this team. So guys are really stepping up when needed, and I think that's what needs to happen today. That's what needs to happen all throughout the season because injuries happen in the NFL, so this isn't going to be the end, unfortunately.
And I believe Ben Johnson kind of spoke to that this week with Jamison Williams coming back and joining the team, saying, yes, we are ready, and we also heard him speak to it regarding Amon-Ra St. Brown. If he's out, who's going to be in? If he's out, do you have a plan? And his answer was, yes, we have a plan. We plan for any player being out, and there's plenty of guys that are on the practice squad that are practicing as if they're going to have to come into a game at some point. Do we know if it's going to be this week? We don't know yet, but they should be preparing, and they are preparing as if they would need to take the field at some point.
But you know what he's saying? We don't have a plan. When he says all that stuff.
Because I don't know about that.
I don't know if Jamison Williams has been professional enough for them in practice. I don't think he's shown them enough. They're really they're really non-committal with this guy. He's been gone forever. Amon-Ra St. Brown is gone, so you would have expect him to have a bigger role, but they're still saying, I don't know what's going to happen with him. So it seems to me that even though the coaches will never say this, that they're saying that Jamison Williams cannot be trusted and is not professional enough for us to give him the stamp of approval.
That's a good point. Well, I think it's how you interpret plan. So I don't think they have maybe a clear plan for every player, but what Ben Johnson was saying too, they have plays for every player.
Yes.
And depending on how the game goes, depending on what they see, maybe is Jamison Williams.
If there's an opportunity for it.
Yeah, is he running the right routes? Is he in the right position to get him the ball? He's going to read and react, and that's something Dan Campbell's talked about earlier this season, the evolution in the development of Ben Johnson, being able to understand that quicker, kind of think more ahead in the game, which we all think is part of his strength. He's getting better at that. So how does he work these players in? And they did. There was an announcement, I think it was later last night. Dylan Drummond, practice squad wide receiver, has been elevated to the 53-man roster. So Eastern Michigan Star had a great training camp. A lot of people were hoping he was going to make the 53-man roster from
Terry
the start.
being one of them.
Yes, so we might see him. And it's all about those players stepping up, whether it's Dylan Drummond, Marvin Jones Jr., and Josh Reynolds. We'll see how healthy Josh Reynolds is. But these are the games where those guys need to step up. Khalif Raymond, what type of role is Ben Johnson going to script for them?
That's just how the Lions roll, though, and that's kind of the drum that they've been beating all season.
Pun intended.
Heck yeah. The drum that they've been beating all season, that if you're ready and you show you're ready and you want to step up to the plate, we'll put you in.
Yeah.
If you put the work in, we're going to put you in. And I think that's something that has made the Lions so special, and I think many people are recognizing that they go with what they feel is right, not what the outside noise is telling them to do.
Well, I'm going to create some outside noise. I was approached by a young man, and I don't think he's crazy. He said, you know what the Lions should do? On the very first play, fly pattern to Jameson Williams. See what happens.
I really don't think that anyone would be expecting that after what has been said this week. That
I know that,
they're going to
but he
introduce
said that's
him
what
slowly.
they should do.
Okay.
You'll surprise everybody, and they think the play would work. And do you know who that young man was?
Neil Rule?
No.
Braylon?
Nope.
Who was it, Terry?
Spencer Rodriguez. Over here.
Raxner.
Wagner.
I know you're on mute, but is there anything you want to say? Can you sign something to me?
Yeah, tell him that
Yes.
I'm telling the truth or lying.
He's
He's
telling
telling
the
the
truth.
truth. He is confirmed.
He says, one-on-one matchup, J-Mo, send him. Send him.
He's confirmed. Do you think that with now Gibbs being doubtful to play today, that we'll see more of Jameson Williams than we would have seen if Gibbs was in?
I don't think so. I think they for all these rookies, this coaching staff has eased them all into it. I don't know whether that's part of the game plan or part of the psychology to it, not wanting to give these rookies too much too early. And I know Jameson Williams isn't a rookie, but he's one of those players that still needs to earn his place on the team, earn this stardom that we've kind of crowned him. I do believe he will be there, but he's got a small sample size in the NFL, so I think they want to ease him in just like they've eased everyone else in. But there are injuries, and the more you think of Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown, there might just be that much more opportunity. It might just end up in his hand. I don't know if they're going to script it for him, though. Terry, what do you think about how they're going to use J-Mo?
If they don't use him in a significant way, and I'm not saying make him the main receiver, there's something wrong. Because I know Cooper Kupp is coming back today. You know what the Rams are saying? We're going to him. I understand, but they'll go to him because he's done it before. He's a veteran, and they have trust in him. I don't think the coaching staff trusts Jameson Williams now. And, you know, maybe his teammates do, but there is a lack of trust right there. Because if you trust the guy, you would say, hey, let's roll with him.
And you're still going to have Laporta out there, and we know that Laporta is somebody that everyone should expect to pop off in a game now. Hopefully that means that he won't be covered as much, because that kind of was his secret weapon, is that people weren't expecting it, but now they're expecting it.
Ryan's
So we'll see how
reaction
that
says,
affects.
Ryan's reaction in the chat says, lean on Laporta. You know, lean on Montgomery. That's one of those. Laporta has that rapport with Jared Goff now. They're developing that
1,000,000%.
relationship that we want Jared Goff and Jameson Williams to have, that type of relationship. Obviously, different players in different routes, but it's that trust. Jared Goff knows he's going to be in the right spot. He knows where to put the ball. You got to do that with J-Mo, too.
You know what, boys and girls? Maybe we should be talking about Sam Laporta being the main dog.
I actually think he will be today. I think he's going to get 10
there's
targets.
Trust. He's done it. He's feeling good about himself. So maybe Sam Laporta becomes the Lions' Jerry Rice for one game.
Hey, that's.
I mean, that
he's
wouldn't be
setting
bad.
records, baby.
But
or
he's
it would have
definitely
to be a
stepped
Kerry
up.
Kittle.
Kerry Kittle from the New Jersey Nets, former Nets.
Oh,
great.
yeah, that guy.
George Kittle.
George Kittle.
George,
right.
former Iowa. Yeah. No, George Kittle's
You
a
got
stud.
all the players like it's cross sports. You're ready.
If you, any NBA player, what was that? Kerry Kittle, the Nets and the Pistons had some epic battles back in, early
Pistons
2000s.
didn't like Kerry Kittle.
He was a goofy player. He could play some defense, though. Yeah, George Kittle, phenomenal tight end. I got him on my fantasy squad.
But people around the NFL and retired NFL players are even saying how much they think Laporta is going to be a star. And I think that really says something, that Brad Holmes is able to kind of sift him out between all of the individuals that he had to pick from. And with his mastermind, he was able to say, that's our guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think many people, it didn't seem from what we've seen from in the war room that they have going on, that they were worried about anyone else really taking him.
No, we thought, was it Michael Mayer, Luke Musgrave was going to go ahead of him. I think Dalton Kincaid did go ahead of him. But no, at pick, what was it, 34, Brad Holmes snags this tight end from Iowa that I don't believe a lot of people had pegged coming to the Lions, after getting rid of TJ Hawkinson last year, trading him to the Vikings, and then the 3 tight ends remaining actually producing in the rest of the season. I didn't think tight end was a priority. They went running back, linebacker, tight end. It was just a surprise start to the draft, but it seems to be panning out a little bit. The fact that it's Gibbs and Campbell that haven't played as much as Laporta and Branch, our second-round stars, has been pretty funny. But I do think Laporta, he's that modern version of a tight end, a Travis Kelce type, where it's very wide receiver. He's kind of like a wide receiver, can run those routes, but he is a good blocker. So I'm excited to see the future of Sam Laporta in Detroit.
It seems like the Lions must have a high-profile tight end on their roster.
Yeah.
They just can't go without it.
Did they used to have a good tight end? I remember thinking Corey Schlesinger, but he was a fullback.
He's a fullback.
David Sloan, was he a tight end?
Yes. the hands of Sloan, we used to call him, because he used to drop everything.
Oh, man. Eric Ebron.
We should have called him the hands of Stone, but we call him the hands of Sloan.
That was good.
They had Charlie Sanders. He was a great tight end. And then Eric Ebron was supposed to come in and just tear it up.
No bueno.
No, but he dropped too many passes, which he did in college. And then when he came here, he not only dropped passes, but then wanted to fight all the fans on social media. It's a bad mix.
It's a bad man.
We're going to get a little bit more into the expectations ahead of today's 1 p.m. game in the next segment. So stick with us, and we'll be back with more from Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder. Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Good morning, happy Lions game day, and welcome back to another episode of Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford. Thanks for starting your game day with us. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me, Matt Broder, Terry Foster, and thanks to Spencer Roxter in the booth for making today's episode happen. We're happy that you chose to start your game day with us. What an honor. We really appreciate it.
Can I give one shout out real quick?
Of course, go right ahead.
Former tight end great Brandon Pettigrew. The
yes,
chat is calling for some
exploding.
Pettigrew acknowledgement. So there it is, chat. Brandon Pettigrew. Sorry, Gabby.
You got what you were looking for.
Yes, love you, Ryan's reaction.
We have to get into expectations for today's game. We're going to cover from the offense, from the defense, and from the coaches. Starting off with the offense. Sharing the love as J-Mo is returning to the team and has returned this week to practices. And I can't help but wonder, the Lions offense has been looking really good. Can it get any better than this? Will adding J-Mo make it that much better? And obviously, yes, we hope to see that happen. Originally, I was like, man, the love that could be shared between St. Brown and Gibbs and J-Mo and Laporta, I really want to see them, and Raymond, and spread it across the offense. Spread it across, and let's see how much we can keep their defense on their toes. But obviously, with the news of injuries, that changes a little bit. We're still going to see the ball being put into, obviously, everyone's hands, because that is how it works with that Ben Johnson offense. But I want to get into how high are your expectations for the NFL offense with the most contested catches?
Hey.
Matt Broder.
Hey, I think they're going to come out and they are going to continue to get better. There are injuries to some of the star players, some weapons. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs are doubtful, but there are some players coming back from injury and or getting healthier, like Taylor Decker, who's been injured. He played in last week's game against Green Bay. Halapoulivaati Vaitai, he's coming back. I don't know how much we'll see him this week, but he's getting healthy. Graham Glasgow has played well. That offensive line, which is the engine of that offense, they're getting healthy. So whoever is behind the line of scrimmage, I should say, whoever the weapons out of the backfield or wide receivers, I think regardless of who it is, as long as Jared Goff has time and as long as they continue to feed Monty the rock, I think that offense is going to be just fine and get better.
Yeah, and may I be a contrarian for a minute?
Go right ahead.
Always.
I don't think the Lions' offense has been great. I think it's been solid. It's been
Yeah.
good. It's been cute, but not great. Yes, they do control the clock. Yes, the running game has been pretty solid, but I think there's a lot that they've left on the table. I think Jared Goff is afraid to challenge defenses a little bit. There's been things there he could do, but he hasn't. I think it's been good, but they're not putting up a ton of points. Yeah, they did against Green Bay, but for the most part, it's been like in the lower 20s and stuff like that. That's not great. That's all right.
A lot of room for improvement.
Yes.
Yeah.
As the season has progressed, you've talked more about not seeing what you have wanted to see from Jared Goff. As the games have gone on, have you started to see more of what you were looking to see from him in week 3, in week 4?
I'm going to give you a magic number. 1. The last 3 games, he's had 1 interception in each of those games. He can get away with that again today. 1 interception. Not 2, 3, 4, or 5, but if he can limit it to 1, the Lions should be fine. Because of the running game and for the fact that he will check it. He's checked down Charlie, which is okay in a game like this. So, but if he can limit it to 1 interception, hopefully none, but if he limits to 1, the Lions should be fine.
So back when I was a pitcher, I was a baseball player, one of the rules of pitching is try to avoid giving up the 2, 3, 4 run homer grand slam. Solo home runs don't beat you. If you give it up, it's not, obviously not the best thing in the world, but solo home runs don't beat you. If Jared Goff can limit his interceptions, if the Lions can minimize their turnovers, whether it's 1 interception, 1 fumble, whatever it is, I do think they come out on top. The turnover battle will be huge in this game.
Now, before we get into the expectations for the defense, I want to know from each of you who you've been more impressed by in this first quarter of the Lions' NFL season, the offense or the defense?
I'm going to go with the defense, unless you want to take this first. The defense, to me, they had the most room for improvement, and they although we were skeptical a little bit in the first 2 weeks, just from the lack of actually getting to the quarterback, they were almost there. They were getting the pressures. It didn't seem like it all came together, but they've been solid for most of the season. There were several mistakes in the Seattle game, but they've held some pretty good offenses, some pretty good rushing offenses at bay. So I've been impressed with that defense. And Aaron Glenn, while he got some criticism after the Seattle game, just not having the full game plan, not having the team ready to go, he's made adjustments and he's developing, and that only gives me hope for the future of that defense, who's playing incredibly. They're the number 1 rush defense in the league. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think it's a debate. It's the defense.
Yeah.
Because what did everybody say before the season began? Oh, the Lions defense sucks. And a lot of this came from people who didn't really watch the Lions. Last year, yes, the Lions had the worst defense in the NFL. But the last 10 games of the season, it was not the worst defense in the NFL. They were so awful the first 6 games that they couldn't get the numbers to match up where it would be at least a mediocre defense.
Yeah.
But I thought it trended last year, and then this year when people said it's the worst defense in the NFL, I said, no, it's not. You need to watch the games. But I think this year, man, the defense, except for 1 game, Seattle, it's been better than solid.
They've only surrendered 243 rushing yards through their first 4 games.
That's wild.
This season, which is such a step for the Lions defense, looking at what they were able to do last season and being highly criticized week after week after week. And you can't help but let that noise seep in. But Aaron Glenn answered that call this season and answered the call when people were still criticizing him after that first game, whether it be rightfully so or not. He still was able to step up the plate and prove everyone wrong and come out with, I would say, a very strong high contending defense in the NFL this season.
You know what team said they were going to do? They said, we're going to run on the Lions and make them our bitches.
They did.
And now you got to back off that because you're like, okay, maybe they can stop the run.
Yeah.
So I think that was the game plan early in the season. But now, Bijan Robinson, oh, my God, what's he going to do to this Lions defense? Oh, he's going to kill him. Did he even play in that game? Oh, yes, he did. You know, the only reason I know that Bijan Robinson played in that game is because Brian Branch knocked his helmet off.
Yep.
That's the only reason I knew he was in the game. Other than that, did he even play?
It didn't seem like it.
And that's exactly what you want from a defense.
It seems like they're getting the running back down when they first make contact, or they're having enough guys swarm to the ball where that running back isn't able to break free, whether it's Bijan or Kenneth Walker or the stud backups. The Green Bay backfield's been pretty good. I think they've only allowed 27 out of their 80 rushes of the opposing teams to go over 4 yards, which is like just over 33%. It's the lowest rate in the NFL. So they're not allowing the big plays out of the backfield, and that's helping them control the pass game too. If the run game can't get started, then Aaron Glenn and that defense can scheme that defense to the pass.
Yeah, that's crazy. Even Jared Goff has had a big run.
Yeah.
So the fact that nobody's really had big runs against the Lions, that's a testament to that defense.
Yes.
80 rushes, 243 yards.
That's wild.
What are your expectations for them this game specifically?
I think they want this to be the least amount of rushing yards they give up all season. They want this to be an absolutely dominant effort on the defensive line, which is part of the team that isn't injured. They're healthy. They're ready to go. Aiden Hutchinson talked this week about, and he didn't call Chandler Zavala out, the right guard for the Carolina Panthers, but Aiden Hutchinson talked about moving to the inside, being more creative in his pass rush, going up against a less than productive guard and taking advantage of those matchups as a star. So I expect them to go and try to make a statement. It's weird saying you want to make a statement against an 0-4 team, but they definitely want to do that against that run team, against Deuce Staley. Aaron Glenn wants to make a statement against Deuce Staley. I wonder if they're going to be jawing at each other across the field. But after getting run all over last season in Carolina, they definitely want to stop them.
Yeah, they say, oh, that doesn't matter. Yes, it does, because they took away your manhood last year. And so if anybody does that and you have the opportunity to smoke them, then you want to do that. Here's my expectations. I expect the Lions to put the Carolina Panthers running game into a headlock, give them a little swirly or brush their head, noogie, and tell them to go home. Noogie. You don't deserve to be on the same field with us.
I'm hoping that they don't let them score more than 18 points. So to keep that kind of bad record going for the Panthers would mean a lot to the Lions. I hope that they don't even let them get near 18 points.
Yeah.
Maybe don't even let them score. That would be fantastic for the Lions to have a complete shutout. But the other expectation that I'm having is 5 sacks.
Ooh.
Because they took 5 sacks against the Vikings last week, and I think the Lions are much more capable defensively than the Vikings to make more than 5 sacks happen this week. And when you look at that secret sauce that I was talking about earlier in the episode, they're going to spread the love with the amount of sacks that they're able to get. It's not just going to be the Aiden Hutchinson's show, even though I believe he will have more than 1 sack this game. I believe we're going to see them all showing out once again and proving that, that wasn't a mistake, that there was several players contributing to their sack count in previous games.
Gabby's the kind of person who has everything, but we're going to give you a present.
Okay.
They're going to get the 5 sacks today.
Really?
Yes. You know why? Because Isaiah Buggs is playing.
Bugs, Big Pooh.
Big Pooh. All I know is it looks pretty good when Big Pooh's in there.
It does. Mm-hmm. He looks pretty athletic, too. He had some plays against Green Bay where he was pretty limber, weaseling through that line. Mm-hmm. Isaiah Buggs he's an important piece of that defense. I think people they didn't forget about him in the first 2 weeks, but he's important.
Where'd you hear that first?
You,
Terry
Foster.
Don't.
Terry Foster is the source for all the Buggs hype.
Yes,
maybe you were the one that told the coaches to keep him out just so you could hype him up even more.
No, I would never do that. Something happened. He cussed out some coach, or he missed a meeting, or he smacked somebody. It wasn't game film. They didn't look at game film and said, we're not going to play this guy. Something had to happen.
Yeah.
And Broder, I'm going to count on you to find out what it is.
I'll go find
no one
the
else
scoop.
is going to do it.
Do some digging for us.
Yes.
We got to figure it out.
Yeah, I do think if they get 5 sacks, if Bryce Young has a tough day, this could be a 2-touchdown game. 5 sacks is an important. It's a big number, but if they do that, it bodes well for them today.
I want you to put on your little Sherlock Holmes cap and get and have a little pipe and go out there and find out what the hell's going on here with bugs.
I got you, Terry.
Now we're going to get into the coaching expectations for today. And as the season has progressed, Matt, we've been talking a lot about the coaching staff needing to remain true to themselves and that is their strength. So what would you tell the coaching staff today that they need to keep doing and keep remaining true to themselves in as they take on the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, I'd say at least on offense, pound the rock with David Montgomery. Go to Terry and Gabby's MVP and use that offensive line that's healthy. That's your identity on offense. And I think on defense, continue to try to get to the quarterback with minimal blitzing. We may see a little bit more because it's a young quarterback. We're going against Bryce Young today, but he's been pretty good reacting to blitzes and still getting the ball out. So I think Aaron Glenn needs to keep that aggressive, that violent mentality on defense. And Ben Johnson just needs to stay true to himself. Keep doing what they do on offense. Keep running the ball and using play action off of that.
Defense remain aggressive. Mm-hmm. If you play a base defense, you can't stop anybody in the NFL. They're going to march up the field on you. Now, when you play a base defense and you're not aggressive, what you're hoping is that at some point the offense will make a mistake, you'll get the ball, and you go the other way. That happens in college. That doesn't happen in the NFL because these are grown men. They have a lot of experience. They're very high skilled, so they're gonna burn you. But if you get a sack or you can get off the field on defense. If you recover a fumble or get an interception, you can get off the field. That's the only way you can stop a team in the NFL. Sack, interception, fumble. Other than that, they're going to score on you. So you may as well be aggressive.
Yeah.
We're talking expectations, and as a kid, when you maybe don't reach your parents' expectations, they might come back with you with the classic line, "I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed." So if the Lions coaching staff doesn't meet your expectations, what would you be most disappointed in them with? Terry.
I would be most disappointed in that they became this passive group of guys. We know we got the better team, so we're just going to let you do your thing. We'll be in a base defense or we're going to be conservative on offense, even though they still need to pound the rock. I would be disappointed if they didn't go to J-Mo. If they said, J-Mo, you're just going to be a decoy the whole game. We don't trust you yet. We're not going to press it or anything. At some point, you got to press the issue with J-Mo. At some point, you got to just send them on a fly pattern.
What would be your biggest disappointment, Matt?
Yeah, just the fact that they weren't able to get this team ready to play in a game like this.
In 10 days.
In 10 days. This, to me, a game like this against an 0-4 team with all the hype on your side, this is a lot about the coaching staff. And although the players do need to show up and play and they need to be professionals, the coaching staff they're relying on the coaching staff to get them ready, to get them prepared, to not look forward to Tampa Bay, to manage these injuries correctly. You can't come out and lay an egg. It's got to be more like Miami versus the Broncos scoring 70 points against the Broncos a couple weeks ago, or a top college football team playing a Division II team at the beginning of the season. You need to just prove that if you really have taken this next step into being a productive, a dominant team in the NFL, which they want to be, it's games like these where you got to step on their throats, like you said, Terry.
It is a trap game.
Yeah.
I'll admit it's a trap game because you just had a big victory. You got 10 days off. And Tampa is not Tampa, but it's still sort of Tampa. Tampa has been dangerous before.
Yeah.
And so you have to look forward to that game. It's a flex game and everything. So you've got two pretty big games, and this game is sandwiched in between. T-R-A-P.
Trap.
Trap.
Or die.
It is.
Okay, so as this is a trap game, Dan Campbell leads the team in a hype up before they go out. If you had Dan Campbell and the coaches, Terry, you had their ear before the game started, before they gave their hype up to the team, what would your message be to Dan Campbell and his coaching staff before they took Ford Field today?
Fellas, You haven't done anything. As far as I'm concerned, you're a pretty good team, but you haven't done anything. Now prove something. This is a trap game. This is a game that the same old Lions, which I know you don't want to hear, would lose. So show us something different. Show us that you're different and that every game matters to you.
I'm ready to play some football.
Yeah, right?
I'm ready to coach some football. That's a great message.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll get that word.
I think Dan Campbell's going to be more hyped up before this game than he will for the Tampa game.
Really?
Yes.
One extra espresso shot on that black guy.
He will have 4 special shots in that thing. I like the way
Why is that?
because it's a home game. You don't want to disappoint your fans, who I really believe the Lions love their fans because the fans have given them so much this season that they don't want to disappoint them. They know they're going to be hyped up for a road game at Tampa and everything. So I think this game, Dan Campbell's is going to show his ass before the game to his team.
I love that.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the social media team to share their little small clip of footage that we sometimes get of Dan Campbell's hype up speech either before or after the game. But we have to get into our weekly pessimistic, optimistic, and game score predictions. Stick with us, and we'll be back. This is Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Good morning, Woodward Sports. It is October 8th, and the Carolina Panthers are coming into Ford Field to take on the Detroit Lions. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. This is Matt Broder and Terry Foster. We are here for Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show, brought to you by Les Stanford. Thanks for kicking off your game day with us. We have to get into our reasons to be pessimistic and optimistic about today's game and our score predictions. So get ready, because we also want to hear your reasons to be pessimistic and optimistic in the chat. But let's start off with a negative and end on a positive. So, Matt Broder, what is your reason to be pessimistic about the Lions today?
I think some of it has to do with it being a trap game. You know, they're at home. The hype of the home crowd, it needs to not be one of those games they overlook. Also, the Panthers have a pretty decent pass rush. So if the Detroit Lions offensive line can't contain the Brian Burns, the Derek Barnes, those guys up front that are veterans on that defensive line and able to get to the quarterback. And there is, I always forget his name, Yetur Gross-Matos. They got some young guys up there that are able to get to the quarterback. So the Lions need to make sure to shut them down. So that'll be my pessimistic take on it.
Glass half full, Terry. What's your reason?
Okay, I'm going to have to do a little acting job. If half the players on the Lions wake up today like this, who we playing today? That's the reason to be pessimistic. That you absolutely look past this team. You don't respect them. You come in with a laissez-faire, whatever it is, attitude. That's the only way the Lions can lose this. And magic number is 3. Jared Goff throws 3 interceptions, they'll lose.
Yeah, they definitely will.
And that will only happen if guys are waking up saying, who we playing today? That means you're not focused. That's the only reason that the Lions will lose this game. Could lose this game today.
I think that we're all riding the same wave with the mentality, because that is also my reason to be pessimistic. Today, we've seen the Lions use this adversity mindset to really step up to the plate and get their wins. And I don't know if they can find a way to still keep that mentality going into these games that are should-win games, must-win games, games where they're expected to take the other team by storm, really hit them in the mouth. But I think they'll find a way to muster it up because they have last year's game where the Panthers really shut them down when people were not expecting it. And I know players that even weren't on the field last year, such as Tracy Walker, who took on to Tim Twentyman's podcast, really said, look, like, I'm still thinking about that game, and I wasn't even playing in that game last year. I'm still disappointed, even though I didn't take the field last year. I watched it and was disappointed, and I'm still going to be thinking about it. So that kind of mentality they can carry over from last year.
That's true, but this is a different Carolina team.
Yes.
I don't think they're capable of doing that anymore. They only average like 90 yards rushing a game. So even if they wanted to do it, they couldn't do it. Even if the Lions are thinking somewhere else, they can't do this to this team this year in this moment.
Is that your reason to be optimistic, or do you have another?
No.
Okay.
The reason I'm optimistic is because of David Montgomery and the offensive line. Offensive line, we could see it hold today. And if they are whole, that is the straw that stirs the drink. So I don't think the Lions are going to score a ton of points today, but they'll control possession. They'll score whatever they need to score to win this game. So that's why I'm optimistic. OL's going to be whole.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think, too, the Lions haven't played their best football yet. Like, they're 3-1, they're playing well, but I think they still have a lot in the tank. This is a good opportunity for some of the young guns to get out there, get some more reps, see what J-Mo looks like. We'll get Emmanuel Mosley should be back today. All signs are pointing to him playing 30, 40, maybe 50% of the snaps. We don't know exactly how much work they've given him.
I don't know who you're talking about. You talking about E-Man?
E-Man.
Right.
E-Man, Emmanuel Mosley, cornerback, who came over from the 49ers with a torn ACL. We should see him out there. So I think I did say the pass rush of the Panthers is strong, but their rush defense is not so strong. It's, in fact, I think one of the worst, if not the worst, in the NFL. So, Terry, like you said, the Lions rush offense, David Montgomery, that offensive line, even Craig Reynolds, maybe we see some Zonovan Knight. I think that rush offense for the Lions is going to be able to dominate the Carolina Panthers defense.
Now, for my optimistic, I'm going to go a little bit similar to my pessimistic and bring back up the interview with Tracy Walker, because he had mentioned that when you come to Detroit, you need to be ready to step into Hitsville. And I loved his energy during this interview. You should watch it if you haven't yet, because I think it is the perfect preparation for this game day, because he was ready to let you know that if you are playing the Detroit Lions, you are going to get smacked in the mouth on both sides of the ball. And that kind of energy, even going into a game where people are kind of expecting you to win, still keeping that mentality up there, still keeping that fight in there that the Lions are known for, is so essential for these wins. And him speaking to that this week 5, is so important and really sets the tone for this Lions identity.
Maybe we should get something rolling now. You know, we're always looking for names for offenses, defenses, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe the defense, not the Legion of Boom, but Hitsville. Play something off of Motown.
Yes.
and everything. Because they love to hit people.
I love it. That's
Hitsville.
perfect.
The hits have been coming out of Detroit for forever. It's Motown, Terry. You're right.
Hitsville.
I
There
think
you
that just-
have it.
Terry Foster with bars.
That's why he's the legend.
Yes. That
You can
is a good
call
one.
Let's
it
put a
when you
big
see
banner
it.
on Ford Field. Hitsville.
Yeah.
Hitsville.
T-shirt. Woodward Sports T-shirts.
Hitsville?
Hey.
Huh?
There you go.
Maybe we'll see it. Now we have to get into the Hitsville score predictions for today's matchup between the Lions and the Panthers. Mr. Terry Foster, you're on a roll. Do you want to kick it off?
I sure do. I think it'll be a low-scoring affair. But I'm going to look for the Lions to win 20-13.
Okay.
Matt Broder.
I agree with part of that. I think they're going to win 27-13. They're going to beat the Panthers. Panthers are going to get in the end zone once, a couple field goals, but the Lions are going to control this game. 27-13 victory, Detroit over Carolina. There we go.
I'm going with a very similar score. I'm going to go 27-14.
Wow.
The Lions will hold the Panthers off to another under 18-point game, but Ben Johnson will continue his streak with the Detroit Lions, scoring over 20 points in the last 13 games. It's going to be 14 today. I think we're going to extend that record at Ford Field.
Yeah, let's do it. This is a big game for the Lions. Are you excited, Terry?
Yeah, this is the first week of Hitsville.
Yeah,
I'm
Hitsville,
ready.
USA. You excited, Gabby?
I'm pumped. I'm ready. I'm ready, and we hope you all are ready. You got ready with us here this morning on Woodward Sports Network. Woodward and Main Street, the Lions Insider Show, brought to you by Les Stanford. Stick around because later today, the one, the only, Jeff Iafrate will be joined by Ryan Ermanni for the Lions pregame show at 9:30, 30 minutes right here on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster. Thank you, Spencer Raxter. And that's all for us this morning. Have a great one.
Bye.